Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamadire Nirmatam Sakata Krishna Panye Shavana Kirtana Hridayantastu Hi Abhadrani Vidanotistu Hi Shrutam Nasta Prayeshu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Nastiti. Krishna everyone. So today we will be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12, texts 4 and 5. Aham tamiti apartadhir ajnanat purushasya hi swapni bhati atadhyanad yaya bhanda viparyaya. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Misidentification of oneself and others as I and you on the basis of the bodily concept of life is a product of ignorance. This bodily concept is the cause of repeated birth and death, and it makes us go on continuously in material existence. Purport. The conception of I and you, aham tam, as separate from each other is due to our forgetfulness of our eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Person, Krishna, is the central point, and all of us are his parts and parcels, just as hands and legs are parts and parcels of the whole body. When we actually come to this understanding of being eternally related to the Supreme Lord, this distinction, which is based on the bodily concept of life, cannot exist. The same example can be cited herewith. The hand is the hand, and the leg is the leg. But when both of them engage in the service of the whole body, there is no distinction as hands and legs, for all of them belong to the whole body, and all the parts working together constitute the whole body. Similarly, when the living entities are in Krishna consciousness, there is no such distinction as I and you, because everyone is engaged in the service of the Lord. Since the Lord is absolute, the services are also absolute. Even though the hand is working one way and the leg is working in another way, since the purpose of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are all one. This is not to be confused with the statement by the Mayavadi philosopher that everything is one. Real knowledge is that hand is hand, leg is leg, body is body, and yet altogether they are one. As soon as the living entity thinks that he is independent, his conditional material existence begins. The conception of independent existence is therefore like a dream. One has to be in Krishna consciousness, his original position. Then he can be freed from material bondage. So, Arkacha Dhruva Bhadram Te Bhagvantam Adokshajam Sarvabhutatma Bhavena Sarvabhutatma Vigraham. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. My dear Dhruva, come forward. May the Lord always grace you with good fortune. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond our sensory perception, is the supersoul of all living entities, and thus all entities are one without distinction. Therefore begin rendering service unto the transcendental form of the Lord, who is the ultimate shelter of all living entities. Purport. Here the word Vigraham having specific form is very significant, because it indicates that the Absolute Truth is ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is explained in the Brahma Samhita, Satchidananda Vigraha. He has form, but his form is different from any kind of material form. The living entities are the marginal energy of the Supreme Form. As such, they are not different from the Supreme Form, but at the same time they are not equal to the Supreme Form. Dhruva Maharaj is advised herewith to render service unto the Supreme Form. That will include service to other individual forms. For example, a tree has a form, and when the water is poured on the root of the tree, the other forms, the leaves, twigs, flowers, and fruits are automatically watered. The Mayavadi conception is that because the Absolute Truth is everything, he must be formless, is rejected here. Rather, it is confirmed that the Absolute Truth has form, and yet he is all-pervading. Nothing is independent of him. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna everyone. Today I will be reading Guru Kishore Prabhu's commentary and realizations on the following verses. So without any further ado, let me get started. So we are discussing that Dhruva Maharaj, he fought against the Yakshas, and by this fighting he killed so many Yakshas. The leader of the Yakshas is Kubera. He came to Dhruva Maharaj and he approached in such a way that we should understand our position in this material world. Whatever is happening here in this material world, that is only due to the gunas, three modes of nature. And this guna is working under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But sometimes the conditioned souls become bewildered. Even sometimes devotees also get bewildered as long as they are not practicing the Shuddha Bhakti. So this devotional service is the only thing that will enable us to be freed from the three modes of material nature, and that Shuddha Bhakti comes from the Shuddha Bhakta. And as long as we have not achieved that bhakti, we have that and mind concept, and we become bewildered. So ignorance comes from this bodily concept of life. Body is not a problem, but the problem starts when we live with this bodily concept of life. Body means senses, gross senses and subtle senses. Both demand for the sense gratification and enjoyment. This conception creates this ignorance, which is the cause of misery. Indriya Swarta, which means ahankara. So the living entities, those who are conditioned, they are just carrying this ahankara. We can purify that ahankara. Our pure ahankara is, I am the servant of Krishna, and our contaminated intelligence is the cause of bondage. So this conditional intelligence brings the soul to this conditioned state and gives us this material body. So the conditioned soul wants to just enjoy, and the Lord is so merciful. He is just like a desire tree. He facilitates. Many times Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita to engage your mind with intelligence with the Lord's service, and the Lord immediately delivers that soul. So after achieving such transcendental knowledge, one can meditate upon the Supreme. Otherwise, there is no chance. We must surrender to a spiritual master to acquire knowledge, and we should be very submissive with humble attitude. This knowledge opens our eyes, and this develops also love for Krishna. So karma should be engaged to satisfy the Supreme Lord or his devotees. And if someone is engaged in the service of his devotees, his feared devotees, then the Lord will automatically satisfy. So our purpose in all is, and our intention is to satisfy Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnava community. Generally, our karma will make us bounded, and this karma also makes us free through liberation. And Prabhupada gives this example that the same electricity that can give you coolness could also can give you heat. So we should have to think, we are the Krishna's eternal servant. That's not, I am very senior, I'm a big personality. That is a conditioned state. To forget our constitutional positions is called Maya. That is ignorance. We should have to maintain our normal position, that we are always servant and servant of the servant. So sometimes this comes in front of us, like it did for Dhruva Maharaj. He thought that they are of my brother, mine. You can see and you can imagine that Dhruva Maharaj's position and his platform of devotional service. He saw the Lord face to face, and the Lord, the Supreme Lord, touched his face with his divine conch shell, and Dhruva Maharaj immediately started his prayers only by touch. But still you see how strong is Maya. It is not easily by it is not easy just by chanting Hare Krishna. We have to develop the consciousness, and our main goal is to change our consciousness towards Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. Practice is okay, but we should have to fix our goal. What is the destination? And in this conditioned state, we forget how this soul is conditioned and how the soul is suffering with this material body. Again and again, we are getting this material body. But you should think, at what conditioned state are we now living? And what is our real purpose? That is to practice Krishna consciousness. But what is our whole situation now? We are rotting in garbage. We are burning every day. What is this thought with the bodily concept? How can I make my position bigger and bigger? How can I control others? Everyone should follow my instruction, and I'm the boss. So these are the feelings that we go through. So Kubera, he instructs Dhruva Maharaj how we can establish our real relationship, our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, and how can we break from this karma bandhan. We need to we need prayer and practice. Prayers give us perfection, so we are practicing, but we should have to pray to the Guru and Supreme Lord. That is the success of our work. Then we can be freed from this ignorance. Even after hearing Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra, was he freed from ignorance? No. And who was speaking? Sanjaya. He was the perfect person. He was the disciple of Vyasadeva. And even after hearing from perfect authority, Dhritarashtra's illusion is not gone. Why? Arjuna admitted that my illusion is already gone, and that I am situated in my constitutional position. Why not Dhritarashtra? That's because he thought that he was the perfect man, and he was also much attached to his sons. That means bodily concept. So there are different angles. When we attach with our mind, our intelligence in the bodily concept of life, then we cannot achieve this pure transcendental knowledge. So we should have to follow strictly the instruction of the spiritual master. First, we should admit that I am fool number one, and then serve him with a humble mood. Inquire to him about spiritual progress. Then only can we take the cream of knowledge from Guru. So now this Kubera gives this cream of knowledge to Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj is always in the transcendental platform. But sometimes, for our situation, we also follow devotional service, but at the same time, we are also bewildered. So Kubera's instruction for Dhruva Maharaj is for the benefit of our conditioned state. So uh, this concludes Gorkishore Prabhu's commentary and realizations on this verse. So I would like to convey my thanks to him, and I think we can all also thank him in the Japa group as well. So thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gorkishore. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nikhil, for reading.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Krishna Prabhu. Hare
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Nikit, for the wonderful summary.